My best advice for somebody who wants to make their first million. All right, so I'll try and answer this differently to the usual. Just do the work. You've got to hustle. I know a lot of people that work really hard and hustle, and they've not made or probably never will make their first million, or even you've got to dream big and visualize. I know a lot of people who have big dreams of being a millionaire, and again, they're not. And the other one, follow your passion. I know a lot of very passionate people who are frankly broke. But jokes aside, because I'm kind of messing here, but I think all of those things are important to an extent. But I think when it comes to making your first million, if that's really what we're talking about, that first million, because a lot of that stuff is really important later on, but that first million is to have a strategy and a system that is different to the normal mindset around making money. So let me give you an example. Most people think I've just got to work harder and I've got to get that promotion and be a good employee, and eventually I'll work my way up and maybe get rich, and through that process I can save some money and invest some money and buy a house, and then maybe eventually refinance that house if prices are going up, and buy a second home and a third home. And people really overcomplicate it, and they're thinking in ways that don't work for most people. Most people aren't making enough money to invest that's ever going to really get them anywhere, especially if they're trying to compound it. And so the reality is that I think the biggest and most important thing around making your first million is thinking about how you're going to make money in a very different way. So the big shift for me that enabled me to make my first million, and I did that within 2 years of that shift. So by no means was it overnight, but it certainly wasn't a lifetime, was rather than selling my time in a business or in a job like most people do, and how I started making money with more of a system that I could duplicate. And I'll explain that system. So I started with a business model called affiliate marketing, which I was doing around my job. And affiliate marketing is basically when you learn how to do online marketing and you're creating campaigns that sell other businesses' products or even services, and you get paid a commission for the sales that you generate. Now, the really good thing about this business model, and there are others that are similar, is that you don't have to be creative or come up with some crazy idea. You don't have to go on to Dragon's Den or Shark Tank and pitch something that nobody's ever seen before. Quite simply, what you're doing is, I like to say, it's arbitrage. You're generating leads and traffic, quite often through buying it, ads on Facebook or ads on Google or even ads on YouTube, and then you're generating leads and then subsequently potentially sales for a product and a service. It could be your own product or service, but in this instance it's other businesses' products and services. Now, the great thing as an affiliate is you're using their websites, you're using their products and services, their fulfillment processes, they're collecting the money, they're dealing with customer service, they're dealing with refunds, and they're giving you a commission check, normally 30, 45 days after you've made the sale, for the sales of the products that you've made. And the point I'm making is that this is a duplicatable system. You see, if I'm making 100 grand a year, and I'm really good at what I do, I can't duplicate me to make 200 grand a year. I can't duplicate me. A campaign that's making you money, okay, because you're selling a product, not time, you can duplicate. So this campaign is working, I'm now going to find another campaign, maybe a similar campaign or maybe a completely different campaign for another product. And for me, I got to this situation where I was going to work, and eventually I was making more money with my system doing affiliate marketing whilst I was at work, and it was working whilst I was sleeping. And it got to the point where I couldn't afford to stay in my job anymore because I was making more with my system because I kept duplicating my campaigns. So I think the big shift is, first of all, stop trading time for money would be the best thing. And the second thing is have a system that can be duplicated. And when you start to think that way, things get really, really exciting. And I'll get, into some examples here. So for me, my dream car when I first started for myself in business was an Aston Martin. And what I decided was to set up a goal to create a profitable campaign that would pay the car payment for that Aston Martin. And so I spent a couple of months working on this particular campaign. I got it up and running, and it was sustainable and profitable, and that was generating more than enough money for me to justify because that's where I was at that stage, to purchase a dream car, which was naturally very motivating. Now, I was 26 years old, but it may be that you want to be able to take the family on holiday twice a year in luxury, or you want to put your kids through private school, you want to buy that family home. Most people think in a way that's like, here's the amount of money we've got coming in. And can we afford that car? Can we afford this? And it's not creative. In fact, it ends up putting you into a place of scarcity, as in like, oh, if I do this, we're going to have to stop that. Or, you start making decisions based around just this bubble of income that you're used to earning. Now, by being creative and thinking, well, I need to build a campaign for that goal, and for that dream, I need that campaign, and to pay for the wedding, I need to do that, you just naturally become a much more creative person when it comes to making money. And not only did I make my first million by, learning how to duplicate marketing campaigns, I've gone in to build my own 8-figure company, which is exactly these same principles. It's just creating, of course, more products and services, but just duplicating or replicating different campaigns to generate more leads and sales. And there are a lot of different business models in today's digital world, which are more product-based than they are time-based. And yes, of course, you've got to put time in to learn and implement the stuff, but it's working 24/7, 365 days a year. Websites don't go to sleep. E-commerce doesn't stop. You only have a certain amount of time in your business or your job if you're focused on selling a service. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with jobs and service. What I'm saying is that it's unlikely for most that they're ever going to make a million or their first million, thinking the way that most people think. And I think it's important to know that anyone can learn this stuff. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how, non-techie you are. I'm certainly not technical. If you're prepared to sit in front of a screen, we live in a world today where you can find programs and training and mentorship, or even attend seminars that are teaching this stuff. And in fact, I actually have a free video series online that actually teaches people the overview of affiliate marketing, the business model. And then, we have courses and curriculums and everything else. And what I'd recommend is anyone that's interested in sort of learning affiliate marketing, first of all, check out our free video series. But also remember, what I'm saying is that there's lots of different business models. Affiliate marketing may or may not be a good fit for you. I think it's one of the best business models for somebody who's starting out in business for the first time, because there's not so many variables, or it's a lot more proven if you're selling a product that there's already a demand for, and those companies know their sales funnels are effective and working. We've never lived in times like we do right now, where it's so straightforward to become your own boss or be entrepreneurial, or even intrapreneurial. You don't have to. I think entrepreneurs are, changing and evolving the world, and they're creating things from scratch. As an intrapreneur, you're more somebody who's like thinking entrepreneurial when you're starting out, and you're leveraging other businesses or other infrastructure around you to build your business. An example is you can sell your products through Amazon, and they can do all the merchant processing. They can, they've got the platform where the customers are already there, and you don't have to build your own e-commerce website, or you don't have to worry about delivering products within an hour or two, or the next day, or through drones. And this has never been possible like it is right now. So I think, for people that want to make their first million, get strategy that is duplicatable, scalable, and you will see very, very quickly that the potential is far vaster than a job or trading your time for money.